Good morning. Another wonderful Wednesday, friends, and the sun may not be fully up. For me, it's setting here as I film these ahead of time, sometimes the day of. But I just want to put a warning out there. If you're a younger audience, this isn't probably a message for younger kids or anyone below, I would say, junior high, because these issues are they're increasing and might be wise, but we're gonna have some mature material in today's episode as we come together for the sake of transformation, for the sake of clarity, and for the sake of building a life that has eternal consequences for positive, amazing, astounding celebration. Because the reality is, I'm either building a life that is worth eternally celebrating or eternally lamenting. And today's subject is so foundational to building a life of eternal celebration. I love that. That just came to my heart now. I love it. Turn on the camera and here we go. So today's message, today's episode is titled Self-Controlled or Self-Indulgent. Seeing temptation from a different perspective, what's at stake? There's a lot at stake, friends. I'm learning how to think generationally, and it's so invigorating. It brings purpose to even the most mundane decisions, and because I'm seeing clearly, the reality is every decision I make is building. Decisions determine destiny. I've heard many times from many different influential authors and speakers. Decisions determine destiny, and self-control is one of the primary building blocks for something that lasts. To build something of astounding gravity, it takes self-control. It takes denying momentary pleasures. It takes saying no to immediate gratification. We live in a world of instant gratification. Instant gratification is king, and if you choose self-control, you choose the narrow path that will set you apart from the majority. And the reality is, friends, I'm not talking about willpower. Willpower and self-control are two very different things. I just read a chapter this morning in a book titled The One Thing by Gary Keller, Willpower on Demand. The reality is it's not, as he really busts a lot of myths that I can just turn on and will myself. But he compares it to like a battery. At the beginning of the day, it's fully charged, but as you make decisions, it starts to diminish. But I was thinking about this subject through my day today, and I was thinking about the gravity of self-control, because self-control is supernatural. Self-control cannot last or be permanent or mark a person's character apart from the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is the source. It's a fruit he bears. It doesn't matter how many nutrients, how much water, how much sunshine you get. If you don't have the seed, you don't have the foundation, that fruit will not bear. He is the source of the fruit of self-control. Self-control is something that is born out of someone's life, not something innate that is just happens. It's something intentional. There's a progression, as one of my favorite professors at Arizona Christian University pointed out. And that is the progression of really walking with the Spirit. First of all, according to Romans, Paul said that I set my mind on the things of the Spirit. First step in maturity. I set my mind on the things of the Spirit. And as I set my mind controls my footsteps. Then I walk by the Spirit. And then from that maturity, as I grow and develop and walk in Him, I'm then led by the Spirit. So as I grow in relationship with the Holy Spirit, I then am led by Him. And everyone wants an experience on the front end without a cost on the front end. That doesn't work. Everything in life takes a price to be paid because we only have a limited amount of time and choices. I choose one thing, I'm saying no to another. My yes is a no to another thing. So if I choose lust, if I choose to say yes to what my eyes naturally pull at, Solomon said that the eyes of a man can never be satisfied. We've entered into the summer months as we're almost hitting the end now in August. The reality is, for men, ladies start taking clothes off, and that pulls at a man's eyes. So there's a self-control that is so needed, and generations are at stake, friends. Please do not underestimate the power of a single decision, because your decisions determine your destiny. And you have no one to blame but yourself. You may have gone through some atrocious and horrific things in your life, but there comes a time of ownership where you say, no more. I am choosing a different path. No matter what's happened to me, it doesn't matter. As I've heard by many pastors who I respect deeply, it's not what happens to you that matters, but what happens within you. And as good, amazing shepherd, Pastor Ray Davis in Phoenix has said, it costs you more to be disciplined later than it does today. It costs far less to be disciplined today than it does tomorrow, because as you compound bad decisions that are marked by a lack of discipline and a lack of self-control, the compound effect, you reap atrocious devastation. Heart attacks don't happen overnight. Strokes don't happen overnight. Obesity does not happen overnight. A destroyed marriage does not just happen overnight. It's a slow fade, as Casting Crowns shares in their song, Slow Fade. Don't underestimate the power of single decisions, single thoughts. Thoughts shape decisions. Decisions shape destiny. The power of our destiny lies in our thoughts. It's rooted and anchored. So your thoughts are what will make or break you. That's why we gather together for transformation, renewal of perspective, renewal of heart and mind. So here's my perspective twist on temptation. When temptation comes knocking, no matter what the form, if it's to eat more, it's to let your eyes feast on something that's not yours. Jesus said you've committed adultery. You look at a woman with lust, you've committed adultery. Here's the perspective. Think about generations, who's coming behind you, friends. That will bring sobriety, and it'll bring purpose to the fight like nothing else. Generations right on our shoulders. What will you do about it?